Hi dancers, if you struggle with your balance, then today's video is going to be for you. I'm not going to do a full follow along class for this video, but I am going to give you a bunch of exercise examples in the description below so you can work on these things to help your balance. But I wanted to take today's video to kind of explain where balance comes from a little bit more, because I think a big misconception that dancers and teachers have is that balance only comes from the ankle and foot. And they notice like a wobbly ankle and foot first when they're standing on one leg, instead of looking all the way up the body and up the chain to see where that wobbly ankle is coming from, because it might not actually be the ankles and feet that need to be strengthened. It might be the glutes or the core or the back. So that's what I want you to really take away from today's video. And when we're talking about balance, we're going to jump right into it. What is balance? Basically, balance is standing on one leg, being able to find your center and maintain that equilibrium on one leg or even on two legs, finding that equilibrium and maintaining that position, right? We often think about balance on one leg because standing on two legs, a lot of us pretty much have down pat since we were started walking, right? But now when we are standing on one leg for things like pirouettes or leg holds or landing from a jump or whatever that might be in dance, we want to be able to balance with ease, right? So balance is actually including all of these muscles on the standing side of the body and your core on the other side of the body too. So we often forget about the back, the core, and the glutes. Anytime we're talking about pirouettes or balance, I always refer to back, core, glutes. I actually don't pay that much attention to the ankle and foot. If they are super wobbly, we'll do some muscle tests to see where that wobbly part is coming from. But mostly when you're thinking about balance, if you're super wobbly in the ankle, try to engage these muscles first. So when we're thinking about balance, I want you to think about core, which we know what our core is, right? We think about the core as being the front part of our torso here. And I want you to think about the core being the sides, so the obliques as well. Your core also includes your lower back. So anytime we're working on core stability or engaging the core, we want to think about creating tension through this whole part of the body. Like you had a big wrap around your stomach and everything is tightened in. That's the kind of movement that I want you to feel when we are engaging our core, okay? Now let's talk about your back. If I am standing on one leg and my upper body is kind of moving around this way, or maybe my shoulders are up to my ears, my back isn't engaged, you might see me falling forward or falling back, falling to the side. That's all going to be indicative of not using your back muscles and finding stability through the shoulders. So bring your arms into first position, raise your shoulders up towards your ears, and then I want you to just drop them down. Do you feel any sort of engagement here happening in the muscles, any sort of tension? For me, I don't. I actually want you to think about pressing down as hard as you can. So if you had a big ball underneath your armpit, you're pushing down into that ball as hard as you can. That's what it means to engage your lats and have a tight upper body. Okay. Without that positioning, that's when you see a lot of people falling forward out of their pirouettes or falling backwards out of their pirouettes. And so we want to be able to connect the back and the core together. Now let's talk about the standing leg. Standing leg is going to be really important because if I'm standing in a coupe or a passe or a leg hold, whatever I'm doing with this working leg, the standing leg has to be nice and strong. So how do we have a strong standing leg? We actually think more about the glutes and the hamstrings more than we think about just straightening the knee. Yes, straightening the knee is important, but it's not really going to help our dancers. And you, if you are watching this as a dancer, it's not going to help you engage the muscles. We can just fully straighten the leg and not really think about the engagement that much. So when teachers tell you strong standing leg, straighten the knee, that's great, but how do we actually engage those muscles? So if I'm standing on one leg, I want you to think about squeezing your glutes. So I'm going to squeeze in, out, in, out. It's like you're literally squeezing your butt cheeks together, okay? You're squeezing them in and out like this. You can also feel when you tighten here, it should tighten here as well in your hamstrings. And your knee is fully straight. But even if my knee is bent, I can still find some engagement in the outer hips to help support my standing leg too. When my leg is fully straight, it's a bit easier to engage those muscles. And I want you to think about your hips almost pressing forward slightly to help you engage those booty cheeks a little bit more, okay? When we don't have this engaged, that's when we see falling forward, falling back, falling side. We see like sinking into the hip or lifting one hip up. All those things we know as dancers are not very pretty, not very desired when we're talking about balance, especially in a specific position like a leg hold or a turn. Last thing we're going to talk about for balance is actually more with your brain and your eye movements and your proprioception. Proprioception is having awareness of the things around you, having a sense of like how far away your hand is from your shoulder or how close the wall is behind you. It's kind of like this sixth sense that we have. And it's important to develop that skill because as dancers, we want to be aware of our space. We want to be knowing if our arm is all the way straight, if our leg is all the way straight, if we are standing on one leg and balanced. And so we can actually train the body to spot and train the body to recognize those cues from around. So one of the things I like to do standing on one leg. I learned this at a conference recently from a colleague who taught this class about like balance and dizziness and like the proprioception part of it. So it was really cool and like mind blowing for me. So I'm going to stand on one leg. I'm going to spot something right in front of me. So for me, I'm just going to look at the camera. I'm going to keep my eyes on the camera and then I'm going to turn my head to the right and to the left. Right, left. Right, left. And you're going a little bit faster and faster, but my eyes are still looking forward the whole time. Oh, see, I almost fell down. Try that on both legs, forward and back. You can also do it close up if you do a thumbs up this way and then look at your thumb, forward and back there. You can also try standing on one leg and instead of moving your head, you keep your head still and you move the target. Those are other ways that we can train our body to help us balance even more. So it's kind of more of like a brain trick than it is on like the muscles in the body. But when we focus on using all parts of the body to help our balance, we get even better and stronger and stable in that position. So try these exercises out. I'll give you some exercises in the description to help with your core, your back, and your glutes. But in the meantime, check those out. Add some of these into your training plan, and I hope that this video was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next week.